I bet you're wondering why Larry has a shoe on his head.
122 seconds of theme song.
You're wondering where Larry is. He was a little tired after the last show, so we decided to let him sleep in today. But don't worry, he'll be here pretty soon.
Spoiler alert, he isn't. Unless you're talking about Larry as Joshua, though we clearly established that this Larry is just a figment of Bob's imagination.
Victor has a problem. He says there's a kid named Lewis in his class who hit him yesterday.
Darn it, Victor, never name the name of your oppressor on television. Now he's gonna do worse than hit you for epically snitching on him.
Do you suppose we have a story about that?
When do you not?
Close your eyes, Junior, and don't open them until I say so.
All right.
Remember, kids, when a grown man tells you to close your eyes and not open them until he says so, you should trust him without question, especially when feeling a strong wind and hearing crashing noises in the background.
How did we get here?
We're using our imagination.
Because that's exactly how imagination works. Lens flare.
Why aren't they out here in the middle of nowhere?
The same reason they were out in the middle of nowhere last time,
Now,
Junior.
Dave lived
It's
in a
cheaper
land-
that way.
Oh, the land God promised them was wonderful. You could grow things.
For the longest time, I always thought Bob said you could throw things. And as a rebellious child the first time watching this, I found that notion incredibly awesome. VeggieTales inadvertently gives children a bad idea of paradise.
When Moses and the Israelites left Egypt,
God's directions notably don't start at Egypt. I see the set from Madame Blueberry snuck into this episode.
Do I know you?
I'm the narrator.
Self-referential narration.
The Israelites were very sad about Moses dying.
Yeah, keep rubbing salt in the wound, why don't you?
A dish that is filling but bland.
All these tents set the physics of a Pajama Sam quick plan.
He overlooked one little detail.
Nobody else who could clearly see this detail stopped Joshua from crashing into it.
God has given us this land for our new home. So, well, you're gonna have to leave.
Why? They don't seem to be doing anything wrong, other than taunting you for your lack of offensive strategy. There is nothing in this adaptation that says the Jerichites and Israelites can't live together peacefully.
Azaz is right.
What?
Azaz is right.
Oh, so you're
Now
murderers.
listen to me.
Okay.
Well, things weren't going as smoothly as Joshua had hoped, so the Israelites decided to pull back and talk things over.
I could have gathered as such without the narration, Bob, and frankly, Junior probably could too.
This time, I really mean it. We should go back to Egypt.
Assuming the Red Sea is no longer a ginormous obstacle that needs divine intervention to pass.
Josh realized that this was a messenger from God. So
Remember, kids, if a strange man walks up to you in the middle of nowhere and says they're a messenger from God, take all their words to heart. I mean, it's not like this man could be a spy from Jericho, out to make fools of the Israelites by encouraging them to do nonsense tasks. That's totally not something these guys would do.
We're supposed to hop around the city for 7 days, blow our little horns, yell, and the walls are just gonna fall down. I'm sure that would work great if the walls were made out of jello.
Jimmy Gord would be better than me at CinemaSins.
How are we clapping?
I have no idea.
What they said.
It's not because we're crazy or anything. Our God told us to do it this way.
No, some creepy guy with a sword told you to do it this way, and he could be aligned with anyone. This irritating little song. Their words, not mine.
Won't you join me in my irritating little song?
Despite the blast radius, none of these slushies splash anybody until they're off screen.
I've got slushy in my ear.
What ears?
Well,
Time to fire up the Wallminator, Jerry!
do you think that's a good idea?
Of course he thinks it's a good idea. Otherwise, he wouldn't have brought it up. The fact that it takes Bob this long to realize that Junior isn't right next to him anymore.
It didn't make sense when God told you to walk right through the Red Sea. But what happened? The water dried up.
More instances of God defying all worldly logic in the name of proving that he exists. If only it were that simple nowadays.
Sometimes God asks us to do things that don't make sense to us. Like walking around a city to make the walls fall down. Or being nice to someone who hasn't been nice to us.
Hold up a minute, rewind to the opening.
Now in church, Victor just learned that God wants us to be nice to people, even when they're not nice to us.
That's a fair moral value, I'll give him that. But it makes what they're doing now absolutely hypocritical. I gather the Jerichites aren't really being nice to the Israelites by blocking off the promised land, but really, what's the worst of two evils? The group that blocks people off from a single patch of land, or the group that knowingly takes away everything the other group has worked for just to claim that one patch of land for themselves?
The people of Jericho hit him with everything they had.
All they had was slushy? Jerry wore his eyes too high for this shot. We will tear down your wall and your eardrums! Don't worry, guys. We had most of the Jerichites evacuated before the walls fell down. We're positive nobody got buried.
Finally, after 40 years, they were in their new home.
Their new home of endless dust and mountains of rubble. Welcome to the Promised Land, everybody.
We're gonna march through the streets, walking hand in hand.
What hands? No, scratch that. What streets?
But did they really build a rocket in the middle of the desert and get slushies dropped on their heads?
That depends. Did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego really work in a chocolate factory?
I'll be right back.
How did the French peas get all the way up there? Oh, Bob, you know you love the song.
Oh, wow. Forgot about that one.